everyone, and welcome to a new episode of the Game Out Talk podcast. My guest today is Ed Greg. Hey, how's it going?
Hey, I'm happy to be here. I'm doing pretty well.
Nice. Edward, I have been following you on Twitter. You were calling yourself the unemployed 3D artist, and it's kind of nice that you are sharing like on a daily basis what you're currently working on. How's your workflow, and yeah, so I'm super interested to speak with another person who is currently looking for work, and I I I want to give you guys a platform, and I want to speak with you about the issues of the games industry, and well, what the other stuff we are and you are dealing with. Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah.
So yeah, give us a short rundown of your like career. Where did you start? How did you get into 3D? How was your like experience so far?
Yeah, so I have I feel like a lot of people do, but I definitely have like a weird kind of strange like backstory falling into this industry. I went to university and I knew I wanted to work on games. I was originally going to be an engineer, and then I was like, "Oh no, I love video games. Like I've always liked video games. It would be really fun to like make those." And at that time, I thought the only way to make them was, to go learn programming. So I went to a school in Massachusetts that's now closed. It was Becker College, and it was like a really highly rated like game school. They had like a game program specifically for like, oh, do you want to make games? And they got me. I was like, cool, I'm going there and I'll learn, programming, computer science. And I wanted to play baseball in school. It was like a big deal for me. So I kind of had two things in one. It was like, oh, cool, they have a baseball team. I can play on the baseball team and I can like learn programming. Great. And it was like I was very happy with that. Um, and then sort of I found out over time. I went 2 years into this program, and on my third year, at the end of my third year, like COVID sort of happened, which is funny because I feel like I might be one of the younger people you have on this podcast,
Hmm.
which is like for
Yeah.
me, I'm like, oh my gosh, like I hope I can live up to the expectation. But I've also like
There are no
I think I have a
expectations.
unique
Yeah.
like point of view because I haven't been working in the industry for that long. I've only been working in the industry
Hmm.
for about 3.5 years, almost 4 years now. So it might be. I think it's gonna be like a really cool episode because of that. Because I probably have like some unique point of views on
Yeah.
things. But that happened. The school closed. I transferred schools. And at the end of my junior year, I realized I didn't like programming. Python was really hard, and I just really didn't enjoy it. I took a 3D art class as an elective because I just needed to take a class, and it was amazing. It hit me like almost instantly. In the first 2 weeks, I was like,
Hmm.
"This is what I was like looking for the whole time." I don't really come from an art background. I My dad does a lot of traditional art and did a lot of traditional art when I was a kid. I always like drew and things like that, but especially growing up and like getting becoming a teenager, becoming a young adult, I didn't really do a lot of traditional art. So it was funny that like I was like, wow, this is amazing. And then that kind of propelled me into just grinding for a few years to try to get good enough to get hired somewhere. And I
Hmm.
eventually did through mostly through looking outside of university, outside mentors and things like that. That was like the biggest thing for me. I was like, okay, like school really gave me some direction, but I feel like it can't get me to the finish line. So I went and I found some really awesome people who were willing to guide me and guide my hand, and that's sort of how I wound up becoming a 3D artist and working in the games industry. So
Nice.
yeah,
Yeah. So as you mentioned, I have sometimes people from the industry who have been in the industry for like 20 years,
yeah,
and I also have people who are in the industry for not for quite some years. But yeah, I always find it super interesting how things have changed, and how
absolutely.
people have a different view and a different view of the whole industry. Because especially for people who have been here for a longer time, they really have been, yeah, in the kind of the beginning of
Hmm.
3D art
Yeah,
as we know it. They have been doing texturing in Photoshop. Like
yeah, yeah.
that's even for me, that's super old school, and I can't imagine how difficult it must have been back then.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So you are currently unemployed. So how did this whole unemployment thing happen for you?
So I was fortunate enough to be working at a company for about a year and a half. I worked at HTX Labs, which is a company based in Texas and the
Mhm.
US, and they do mostly training, like VR training stuff. They leverage. I think they've leveraged a lot of people looking for work or being out of work in the games industry to build this big network and company of a bunch of people that are like former game devs or current game devs that are making training simulations in UE5 for all sorts of people, mostly Air Force, Department of Defense,
Mm.
some third party companies. So I was like a hard surface artist there, and I worked on a lot of stuff. I worked on, I obviously can't talk about, but like I worked on aircraft, those sort of things.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
it was like, it was awesome for me because it finally gave me like a chance to breathe. I before then I was bouncing between indie studios, some freelance work. Like I'd have like a contract for 4 months or like 5 months, and that was
Yeah.
finally like, you know, this
Mm.
isn't what I want to be doing, but I am doing hard surface art and I am implementing an Unreal, and like it's games adjacent, and I was like very satisfied with that. And honestly, I feel like having steady work, like anybody in this industry having steady work for a year and a half, is not something to scoff at. So I'm very thankful that I was able to be there for as long as I was. And then because of, you know, whatever craziness is going on in the US right now, whatever craziness is going
Mm.
on with the government, a bunch of things got slashed and cut, and a lot of their contracts, especially with like the Department of Defense and stuff, just kind of got like axed out of nowhere. So they had
Huh.
to downsize immediately, which sucked because I was like, oh, I'm working for basically for like, you know, the defense agency for the U.S. Surely, like, this is the greatest job security in the world. There's no way I'm gonna get laid off from this. And then
Absolutely.
it
Yeah.
got me again.
That's what I
And
would say.
I know, I
Yep.
was like, there's no way it got me again. So yeah,
Mm.
so at least they gave us notice. They gave us about like 2 months of notice. So I knew I was going to get laid off at the beginning of November, probably like right at the beginning of September. So I had like some time to plan. But yeah, I mean, it's always bad news. This has happened to me. This is like
Mm.
my third one in 3 years already. So it's been pretty
Oh.
consistently like a yearly occurrence. But it's
Mm.
funny because like, you know, my friends and mentors and people I look up to and people that have been in the industry far longer than me are, you know, they're like tallying them up. They're like, yep, there's another one, there's another one. I had a
Mm.
buddy who my buddy Will worked at Wizards of the Coast, worked at Volition, worked at another studio, and in 1 year got laid off 3 times from like these really
Oh.
big high profile roles. And so
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
yeah, it's just it's the way it seems to be right now. I hope it's not like this forever. Um
Yeah.
and I'm not gonna it's really easy to be like doomer about this, I feel like. And
Absolutely.
I've had days, everybody's had
Same.
days
Yeah.
where it's like,
Yeah.
dude, this sucks.
It's a
You know, it's never
spiral,
gonna get better.
downward
Yeah,
spiral.
exactly.
I
Yeah,
will
you're just corkscrewing.
I will end up living on the street
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah. I try not to do that. Some days it gets the best of me. Thankfully, I have a lovely girlfriend who keeps my head on straight, and I have like a
that's
support
good.
system
Mm.
around me. My parents and family live pretty close to me,
Mm.
so I feel like it's good, especially in times like this, you know, to have people physically in the real world, to
Absolutely.
have like a really strong support system. So I'm thankful that they're here. They're looking out for me. You know, nobody's gonna be living on the street, but it's like I just want to get, and a lot of other people, I just want to make art for and
Yeah.
make cool art with other cool people and get paid to
Yeah.
do so. And that's really it. Like that's what it boils down to for me.
Yeah.
I want to make games, but whether that's in film or in commercial or advertising, like I just want to be able to make cool things and talk to other cool artists, you know, like such as yourself, and be like, look at this thing, and share ideas back and forth, and you know, both of us like level up our game and get stronger and get better and like get paid to do so, and not worry about like, what if we get laid off next month? Like, what, you know,
Mm.
oh no, it's the
Yeah.
third quarter earnings report for Nvidia. Like,
Yeah.
what's gonna, you know,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
I just don't want to have to worry about that type of stuff. So
Yeah, apart from all the like the financial things that are out there when it comes to job security, it's also like a mental thing for
yeah,
me, like not being I don't know how to say it, but not being in a team is kind of a bit of maybe also like
yeah,
the fear of missing out on
absolutely,
on games I could have worked on
absolutely,
or applied for. Like it's really doing something with me. But yeah, I have days
I
where
totally agree
where
with that.
it's better and where it's worse. Yeah.
I miss one of the things I love the most is like just being able to collaborate with other people, whether it's
Hmm.
just like, you know, talking in a stand-up call. So actually, I
Yeah.
I know of a handful of other hard surface artists that have been laid off recently, like actually just around the same time I was. And one of them being like a close friend and like mentor of mine that I've worked with for a long time. He just got laid off. So like when we found that out, I was like, "Do you want to just do stand up every morning? Like we're all right. We
Hmm.
already work on stuff together, anyways. Like I'm already like pinging you, like, oh yeah, hey, like I have this issue in Marmoset. Like, can you help me fix this? So like do you want to just do stand up? So like at in the morning,
Yeah.
me and him and another person now that used to work with him at the company, he just got laid off from like the three of us, all hard surface artists. We're just doing stand up every morning because like we just want to be like, what's going
That's good.
on? What's
Yeah.
what'd you do yesterday? What'd you do today? And I think and the same thing like going back to the videos I've been making,
Yeah.
that are not like not expecting to like blow up on any social media. The only reason I'm making them and the only reason I started to make them in the first place is to just hold myself accountable. And I think
Yeah.
that's what like the stand up does. It's like I'm holding myself accountable, and everybody in this together is sort of like signed a social contract that we're just all holding ourselves accountable to just do something. If that's 30
Yeah.
minutes of work every day, it's 30 minutes of work. But as long as you're just like doing something, because again, it's so easy to be like, fuck. I don't know if I can curse on here. I'm sorry, but it's
You
so
can.
it's so easy to be like, oh man, what do we do? I'm just gonna sit in my bed and scroll on, Reels or
Yeah.
TikTok and be like,
Yeah.
damn,
Yeah.
like this sucks. So that's why
Yeah.
I started doing the videos is to just be like, I'm holding myself accountable. This is what I'm doing every day. I'm not gonna give up. Because I really want this and I want to keep working. I want to show other people that like, hey, this is what I'm up to. Or even maybe there's people that are like, damn, I'm never gonna get into the game industry, or like, I don't know how to do this certain thing, or like I don't know this software. I'm just gonna be like, this is just a video of me tinkering around and like what I do daily. Like this is what I did today. So
Yeah. Keep
that's
the
how
ball
that
rolling.
started. Yeah, keep the ball rolling. Exactly.
Yeah. Also, like sports has a big thing for me now. Like I do it daily, like running, lifting,
Yeah.
cycling.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It's because it's giving me like this achievement hit because I did something and
Did
I
something
I
productive.
I achieved something. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I
Absolutely.
did something productive.
That's
Yeah.
something I've tried to even before now. When I really started to get like constant work and I was like, okay, I have a schedule every day. Like I have a steady job now. Like what am I missing in my life? It was like I need to like get active again and like do something and have like some type of routine where I'm like moving my body, especially because we're sitting at our chairs for 8-10 hours a
Exactly.
day. It's like, man, like I
Yeah.
need to get moving. I started rock climbing, indoor rock
Ooh.
climbing about like a year and a half ago, and it
Mm-hmm.
like really really stuck with me. I really liked like the problem solving aspect of like, oh, like this thing has like a specific way that you solve it, like this route. And I found actually a
Mm-hmm.
lot of other tech people, specifically like engineers, really enjoy that side of it. And that's
Mm-hmm.
like majority of the people that go and rock climb is like people that
A
like
problem
solving problems.
solving.
So I try to go twice or three times a week in the morning. I just came back from that this morning. And that's
Sweet.
helped a lot. It's especially helped being in like this period of
Yeah.
uncertainty and things like that.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Also,
I could
like
preach to that.
not thinking about the job search at the moment. I don't know how is it for you, but for me, like job search is pretty frustrating. There are
Yeah.
like no response. You get
Yep.
ghosted. No feedback.
Yep. It's rare even that I
Nothing.
see like a position that I think I'd even be viable for. It's like
Yeah.
if a position gets posted on LinkedIn, it's especially like a specific like, oh, we're looking for a hard service artist. Like I know
Yeah.
Firaxis and I think Epic
Yeah.
Games had like positions posted recently. It's all seniors. I don't consider myself a senior yet. I feel like
Mm-hmm.
I'm like a mid-level artist, and I feel like I don't want to apply for that, especially with the talent like currently in the job
Available.
pool. It's like
Yeah.
there's
Yeah.
no way. Like they can get anybody they want basically. There's so many
Mm-hmm.
people out of work. So it's really like disheartening. And this has been years. I mean, this was even before when I worked at HTX, when I was working at other indie studios before. Uh like I haven't seen junior or even mid-level postings in years for anything. Like
It's mostly senior.
it's
Yeah.
only
No.
yeah, I know it's only senior postings for everything, if that. So it's been hard for me to even find positions to apply to. I usually use Hitmarker, I use Work with Indies, I use
Yeah.
Grackle, which kind of like filters the whole internet, and then of course I use LinkedIn. Um,
Mm.
yeah, but yeah, it's been kind of tough on my end to find stuff. Anything that I think I could even remotely get like a callback for, I'll apply. Especially stuff that's like easy apply to, where it's like, oh, like put my thing in.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I'm worried I'm gonna get filtered through, their AI resume checker or
Oh
whatever.
yeah.
I'm not even
That's the
gonna get.
next big thing. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like I'm not even gonna get like a screening call or anything. But I try to, and of course I have to as well for like state unemployment law, so I can like try to collect unemployment. I have to apply for like X amount of jobs every week.
Same for
So
me.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. just keep putting stuff out
Yeah,
there. I'm not sure what's maybe the main reason why there are only senior positions out there, but I guess that's like my first intention is that maybe studios don't have the time and the money anymore to like hire
and like
juniors and
train them up.
train them up. And but yeah,
That's what my
um
mind immediately goes to too, but then it's like, okay, when how do you grandfather new people into these positions and into the industry? Like when
exactly.
these seniors
Yeah,
retire, who replaces them if you can't ever make new seniors? Is it just people that are like self-taught and are really that good? But like sometimes, like the best artists, like the best artists with the best portfolios aren't always like senior level artists because there's like
no,
there's that you have to be personable, you have to be able to work within a team and with other people. And sometimes the best artists ever, they can't work with other people. They don't know how to do that, or
yep,
they've never worked in a
yep,
team before because they've only done like solo dev or solo art. So like, how do you achieve that if you're not training the next generation? I don't know. That's obviously a
yeah.
question that's way above my pay grade. So
That's something I also like when I worked at Romero Games and we hired for new positions. That's something I yeah experienced when we spoke about like people after the interview. um we always said, yeah, they have really amazing art and they have such a technical skill that is fantastic, but sometimes like from a personal perspective, maybe they are not that good in a team, or maybe
yeah,
they have like they are not open for feedback because
yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, from the way they speak, from the way they talk about their workflows, and from the questions they ask and from the questions they answer. So yeah, I can I I can say it's not always just the portfolio and the technical skills, but in the first place it is, because that's what the recruiters and the lead and art directors are looking at. But when it comes to the interview, also make sure, and also when you are in the team, then make sure you are good to work with and you are open for feedback, you are
Absolutely.
communicating well. Yeah, that's something I learned over the past few years. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'd absolutely agree with all of that. It's also their responsibility to be able to like not just be a great artist, but like, hey, you actually need to train this person who is recently started, and like that's your job as well. And like, can you do that
Yeah.
and do the good art? So,
Yeah. Yeah, especially for seniors. Like they are not just doing art all day.
oh
When I
yeah,
worked at Crytek, there were seniors that were just fantastic artists, but on the other side, they were fantastic to work with when like feedbacking and reviewing stuff. That's something you also need to consider, like stuff that is coming in from outsourcing.
absolutely, yeah.
Someone needs to take a look at it, and someone needs to say,
Who's gonna
"This
step
is
up?
wrong. This
Yeah.
is." Exactly. That's another trait you need to have when you are a senior.
I've even had friends that have had the position of senior, and they were like, actually, like self reflection, this is too much. I'm gonna like voluntarily step down from this because like I just kind of want to make art, and I don't want to
Hmm.
do all the other stuff. Like I
Yeah.
just want to be a cog in the machine, sort of. So I actually totally understand that. It seems like a
Yeah.
heavy load.
I heard that many times. Yeah. So seeing your art station, you have quite some cool stuff on there.
Oh,
What are you
thank you.
most proud of? And I imagine the scope. It's looking fantastic.
Thank you
Yeah.
so much. Yeah, the project that I just worked on, which is that vortex scope, was cool. It was the first project I'm practicing my new workflow in, which is like using plasticity to churn out high poly models super duper
Mm-hmm.
fast.
Mm-hmm.
It was also like a study on treated metals, like anodized aluminum. Where is this? There we
Mm-hmm.
go. Which I hadn't done before, and I know it's kind of hard, like in PBR, to make treated metals sometimes. And I was working with a friend on it, and we were like trying to figure out the mathematical values of like how treated metals look, and like are
Yeah.
they metal? Are they not
You have
totally
to
metal? Like,
bend.
do they
You
fall
have to
between
bend the
0 and 1?
rules.
Yeah, exactly. Kind of have to cheat a little
Mm.
bit. So it's like a fun material study, fun texture work. I'm always trying to like level up my texturing. I feel like in the past few years it's gotten better, but like that was something I was very self conscious about at first, and I like feel like I almost struggled with a little bit, especially
Mm-hmm.
where we're like in the era where, especially for hard surface artists and in the games that they're getting hired to work on, your Call of Duties and Battlefield stuff. It's really important to like author super realistic textures, and I was like, man, I don't know if I'm good enough or like as good as other people are at doing that. So this project, I was trying to just like level up that skill set a little bit. And again, use plasticity and the marmoset bevel shader workflow to just like get this really sweet model really fast, which I ended up
Okay.
using at work when I worked at HTX a little bit, and then I ended up I'm just kind of adopting that like now in the project I'm currently working on. I'm like, yeah, this is the way. Like I just feel so comfortable using CAD software now. But I
Can
still use
you?
Maya in my free time as well. It's like my
Mhm.
polygon software of choice. I also use
Same.
Blender, but I just don't
Yeah.
do UVs in Blender because I just really don't like the UV
Mhm.
software. But yeah, this project for sure, I'm really happy with it.
Can you maybe? I'm a Maya guy myself, so you didn't do any modeling in. You did the UVs in Maya for the
Yeah,
scope.
I did the UVs and the cleanup. So like I exported the high poly out of plasticity, which is just like on their export settings. I just set everything to like one, make it all n-gons, but just export out the super dense like triangulated model.
Uh
And
huh.
then I usually I'm trying to find some different ways to make it faster, but like I'll export a low poly, I'll fiddle with the settings and just get it to where it's like not faceted and maybe the verts are like lining up, so I don't have to do a whole lot of manual welding. And I'll export a low poly, and then I'll do a cleanup in Maya. And like on the current project I'm working on right now, the cleanup stage took about a week, where as opposed to like making the high poly itself took about, I don't know, a few days. It was maybe like 12 total hours of work. But the cleanup stage is like the only part that seems to be like really hiccuping, a bump in the road with this sort of workflow. Is like the cleanup stage takes a little bit of time, especially when you're making game art and you have a budget, like a tri count budget,
Mhm.
and a draw call limit and things like that, which is what I try to adhere to in like all my portfolio pieces. I'm like, this is going in a game, even if it's not
Yep.
going in a game right now, it is going in a game in my head. So like I got to adhere to all these rules.
Mm.
So yeah, when cleaning up for that specifically, it can be a little finicky. And then of course I do UVs in Maya. I really like just like Maya's out of the box UV
Same.
editor. I've tried Rhizome a little bit. I know
Yeah.
some other people have told me like the
I use
workflow
it
and,
for
and the
packing.
Sweet. I've
Yeah.
heard the bridge to Maya is like really good and worth looking into.
Really,
I
really
just
good.
don't have.
Mm.
I tried like I did a trial of the software last year. I don't have it myself, so it might be maybe something I look into for Christmas perhaps. But
Mm.
yeah, and then I bring everything into Toolbag and I bake in there, and then I use Substance Painter to texture. I like want to try a project soon. Maybe my next project that I do, I want to try texturing and Toolbag and Toolbag 5.
Oh
I've
yeah.
heard good things about it. I know that a lot of people are like championing it and saying it could be like a solution to Adobe products, which I'm trying to get away from like the endless
Oh yeah.
subscription
Same.
service.
Same.
So I might try that. I just feel so comfortable in Substance Painter, especially now where I feel like I've gotten to the point where it's like I have a good workflow in Substance Painter and I feel confident about like the decisions I make and like why I make them. So
Mm.
learning something new for texturing might be like a lot to take on, but I'm totally like open to trying new things. And then I usually use Marmoset Toolbag also for like presentation. It just feels so easy out of the box. I've used Keyshot before, like when I was in college. I also used
Same.
I used Arnold and
Yeah.
Maya when I was in college as well. Um, and that just always
Key
feels
shot.
it just feels like
Yeah.
too much to set up compared to Toolbag, and you just get better results out of the box, and you can do everything in camera. I like the way in like the way it's built and like the people behind the software are all like photographer, like it's built like you're a
Bit
photographer
like a
basically. And
photographer.
like
Yeah. Yeah.
I used to like doing like photography in my free time. So it's like it just clicks with that like part in my brain. I'm like, oh, this is just like using a camera like in the real world. It just makes so much more sense, and it's so easy to set up. So yeah, and sometimes I used to bring stuff into Unreal and set them up. I'm actually working on modding some of my older pieces into Ready or Not, which is a game that runs on UE5. It's like a
Mm-hmm.
tactical
Yeah.
shooter,
I know it.
and it
Yeah.
has really good modding tools. And I'm working on modding some of my older pieces into Ready or Not, because I think it would be really cool. Because one of the biggest pieces of feedback I always get for portfolio stuff, and I'm sure a lot of other artists do too, is it's like, oh, you need to show this like an engine and like in a game it needs to be like working. And like, of course, cool, but like
How?
it's my personal, like, I'm not,
Mm.
I can't do everything. So I was talking with like a buddy of mine, and he suggested like we should mod things into Ready or Not, because it would be such a cool way to present our work and to show like, hey, I like because I can prove like I have an understanding of Unreal. I can implement things in Engine. I know how to set up materials. I even know Blueprint, but it's so hard to show on ArtStation unless you're just like,
Yeah.
taking
Yeah.
screenshots of like a bunch of nodes and things like that. It's like I can do that. Like it's not on my ArtStation because it's not very pretty. So I think like modding, which it would be a really cool way to show that, especially because that's like, at least from my understanding, because I'm a bit younger, but that's like a way people got into the industry, 15 years ago. Was like, I modded Fallout 2. Cool, you seem to know what you're doing. Do you want to be an intern like on Bethesda or whatever? So it seems like that's a way, like that was an avenue for people to get in originally as artists and stuff like that, as being like modders. So I think
Hmm.
that's a cool way to be able to present stuff, especially with like, artists needing to know downstream dependencies and things like that in Engine, which we do because we've worked on things, but it's hard to like I find that it's like hard to show that on your portfolio. So modding might be an avenue for me at least. So
Yeah, modding is often a big, especially like in the 2010 years.
yeah.
It was a big step into the games industry or
Hmm.
game dev overall, like working on something on the free time and yeah, learning or understanding how games work.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So um let's say there is a dream project or a dream studio out there for you. What would you like apply
Oh
to,
man.
or like
If I could work on anything,
on a game
on
or
a
on a
game.
studio? Yeah.
Wow. So the reason, like one of the main catalysts for me wanting to work in games, because I played a lot of games as a kid. Not as a young kid. I like my parents were always like, I love them. I hope they're not listening. They were always like not like anti tech, but like when I was a young kid, it was definitely like go outside, no video
Same for
games.
me.
So like
Yeah.
so like because of that, I was like, well, now that just makes me want to play more. Like I just want to play more video games. So like any waking free time I had between the ages of like 10 and 18, I would be on the game. Like if I was not doing anything else, I'd be playing games. And my favorite game of all time was Bungie's Destiny, the first one that came out
Mm-hmm.
in 2014. It's my
Mm-hmm.
favorite game ever. I don't know, it was like a perfect age for me to like really start. I was like fully kind of like my brain was like fully working, and I was like, this is like everything about this is amazing. It just uh totally opened my eyes to like what was possible. I played Halo when I was a kid. Like I had like an older cousin. I remember used like played Halo 2, Halo 3 with him. So I was like super familiar with like their gunplay before, and I always really liked it, which I know that's something that people say about Destiny all the time, is like it adopted the Halo gunplay really well. Um and yeah, it was like my favorite game ever. And I was like 16, and I was like, okay, it's time to like pick like what do I want to do, like what am I interested in. And I was like, man, if I could like just be a part of like something like this one day, it would be the coolest thing ever. So I did some research, and like I went to my dad and I was like, this is what I want to do. And it took my parents a little bit. They're like, what? No, like go be a doctor.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah. Yeah.
so but I was like, no, I want to do this. So yeah, so I started looking for like, how do I go to, because in my mind I'm like, okay, go to school, like go to university, like how do I learn how to do this, how do I get to that point that I could like be part of this. But yeah, if I could work on anything if I could work on anything, I would like reverse time and work on the first game. But if Destiny 2 ends up being like continuing, if they still continue that roadmap and that IP, yeah, I'd love to work at Bungie. I have a couple friends at Bungie. I have a couple like mutual connections that I keep in touch with, and things like that. I know there's like a lot of stuff going on, and like they're releasing marathons soon, and there was
Oh
like a
yeah.
little bit of controversy over that. And I wish them the best, especially like the artists, like the artists at the studio, the people that like make that studio, the make the creative juices that like flow in that studio. I hope it all works out for them. Yeah, I'd love, that would be the spot I'd want to work at one day if I could pick anything in the world. I think the second one, a close second, especially now, like a more realistic second, would be to work at like an outsourced hard surface studio. That kind of seems in recent years, that kind of seems like the move for like what I want to do and what I think like I excel in. Because I see, and I've talked to a friend about this, like I see, and I'm like, okay, these studios are closing, these people are dropping like flies, but like the one thing that seems to sort of remain at least okay for now is like outsource houses. It's because they're not just like, they don't
Hmm.
have all their eggs in one basket on one project. They're like, oh,
Yeah.
we're
They're
working on,
flexible.
yeah, exactly, we're working on all these different projects now. We don't have a whole lot of people, and maybe we have a lot of freelancers or like contract workers, and we're not like a 500 person studio, but we're not going under, we're not laying people off. and it seems like really cool to be able to work, at like a War Dog, or like a Ryzen Art or something like that.
Hmm.
Um, to be able to work with just like other people who are like interested in the exact same flavor of thing I'm interested in, and then being able to like work on all these different games and work with different studios and different workflows and stuff like that. That would be cool. That's like a realistic, like if I had to not choose like a pipe dream, that's like a realistic second option.
Nice,
So yeah.
nice, sweet. Yeah, like the whole outsourcing industry has been growing super big in the last few
Yeah.
5 years. I started in like my first really outsourcing contact with Decagon.
Oh, awesome.
Like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm
there are
very
so many
familiar.
artists out there who
Yeah,
worked for
yeah, 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 yeah.
Decagon, and it was like their first remote gig on something they got
Mhm.
paid for to do. Um, but yeah, that's something you still need to consider, especially with the day and age where like in or remote positions are getting um or are not that popular anymore,
Yeah, I've
I'd
noticed
say.
that as well while looking for stuff. I was
Um
surprised. I was hoping they would stick around.
yeah, but with they are still there with outsourcing, because yeah, with
Yeah,
outsourcing they need to be flexible. But yeah, you also get rid of the security you would have with a studio job, you know what I mean? that's
absolutely. Yeah, yeah,
that's
yeah.
that's always a fine line between security, remote, and
Yeah. You can't have everything. You got to like pick
in-house.
two and drop one. Yeah,
Exactly,
yeah, yeah.
exactly. So yeah, that's something you still need to consider when you are looking for jobs. Yeah. So, what are the next steps you are planning to do? Like, you told me that you are learning plasticity. Mm, for me, it's like Blender has been a
Hmm.
more of a thing in the last few weeks. Because I'm teaching a hard surface class
Oh,
here at
awesome.
university, on a part-time basis, and they don't have
Yeah, yeah,
ZBrush,
yeah, yeah,
Maya,
yeah,
the
yeah.
all the expensive stuff. So yeah, they need to stick in Blender, which is kind of cool to kind of show them different versions, and also for me to learn new stuff. I
Of
know how,
course,
how the
yeah.
stuff is done in Maya, but I want to transfer it to Blender as well and teach them. So yeah, what's it for you?
So like I'm working on. I have a personal project that I'm hoping to finish by the end of the month, and get published like first week of December. That is just another project in plasticity. It's just sometimes I find concepts, I find ideas, and I'm just like, whoa, that's awesome. And I started it about like the week before I was getting laid off. I was just like doodling on it in the afternoon, and it came together really fast. So I was like, cool. My brain wants to do this now. Like this is the path we're on. We're gonna bang this out, and then probably just pick up another one from there. I'm always trying to learn new software. Um, I'm really like deep into plasticity right now. I feel like specifically for like hard surface workflows, I think that's going to be king. I know people have been using Fusion 360 for a while, and that was like something that got tinkered with like maybe a couple years ago. And I think plasticity is like the successor to that. Um, I'm still learning Blender. I still want to be like I modeling. I think modeling in Blender versus Maya, like Blender is probably just objectively quicker, but I'm so comfortable in Maya, and I have Mel
Same.
scripts that I use, and like I
Yeah,
just
yeah.
feel like I don't want to transition fully, but I also like I like using Blender for certain other things. Like when I was doing before like plasticity, I was doing like a remesh workflow in Blender, and like before that I was doing like a polish workflow in like ZBrush, and trying to just like pick up all these different things. I'd also be interested in teaching. I have a master's degree in the US, when I got literally only for the reason that well, it was pretty cheap. They like offered it to me, and I was like TAing and stuff, and I did my undergrad in 3 years, so the last year of my undergrad was my first year of my master's, and then I just had to do like one extra year of school, which helped me learn, have some extra time to like learn some new stuff in my free time. But I also wanted that degree because I was thinking it would be really cool to teach one day, especially in the case where it's like, man, I need, I'm in between stuff. Maybe I'm freelancing. Like I'd love to teach a class or
Mm-hmm.
something like that. And I'd also
Mm-hmm.
love to, I feel like, especially because I'm close. I haven't been like away from education or like from university that long. And I know the current state of like, there's so many students that are trying to get into the industry that have went to school for that purpose, like on a dream that was promised them, like, hey, if you go to the school and you graduate, like you're going to
Mm.
find a job in the game dev industry, which is just not the case almost
Yeah,
ever anymore. And I
that's
want to be able to like all the goodwill and the grace that has been like passed down to me so far in like my very like my very fledgling journey in the games industry, I would like to be able to already like pass that down onto people and be like,
Mm.
you know, like I had great teachers. I had some really good teachers in college, and then I also had um, some teachers that I think were kind of just going through the motions a little bit, and like I totally get that. I really would like to be able to show some updated, like up to date workflows on like what people are doing in the games industry. I feel like the not just at the schools I went to, but like at a lot of schools talking to other students or other people that ended up graduating from games universities that have a lot of teachers that were like very old school in the way that they were like still doing things like a very, very,
Mm.
very old way. And it's like
Mm.
this industry moves so fast, and any tech industry does. Like to stay on top of the software and just like the workflows that you need to succeed
Super hard.
is such a hard thing to do. And I'd love to be able to just give like even just like a smidge of advice or just like hey, you're really interested in like hard surface stuff, this is what I'm doing, this is like what people are currently doing in the industry, like this is what you need to learn. Because I feel like it does help a lot if you're like immediately coming out of school or coming out of like some type of program or mentorship and you like already know the workflow. It's like, hey, like I already know how to implement an Unreal, I already know all the software and stuff like that, which I think is like why they harped on like learning Maya for so long. It was like Maya's industry standard,
The
and it's only
standard.
because they
Mm.
have there's so many tools that are like deep rooted in it, like animation tools, rigging tools, modeling tools that like they have years and
Yeah,
years of
it's
tools for. They're not
hard
going
to
to like
get rid of
yeah,
it.
they're not going to
Yeah.
transition to like another software. um so yeah,
Yeah.
teaching would be neat. That's really about it. I mean, I'm still on the job hunt. I'm hoping, I'm always crossing my fingers. Any opportunity that comes my way, I always want to take a look at it. So it would be cool to work, especially with like a lot of the hard surface people that I'm working with now and that I've been working with for a while. Never like worked in a professional capacity with them, like on a game. It's always been like mentorships or just like hanging out and like talking about stuff. And I'd really like to work with some of those people one day. It'd be really
Yeah.
cool.
Nice.
So yeah.
Yeah, like especially with teaching now for me, it's kind of having a bad taste sometimes because I'm teaching young, super motivated
Hmm.
students who want to go into the games industry, and yeah, times are super tough at the moment,
Yeah.
and I'm seeing these young people who have a dream, who play video games, who are just so motivated to do something, and I need to tell them, hey, you need to do this and that to get a job, but uh, like people who have been in the industry for like 5 to 10 years
Yeah.
are struggling to find a job.
Yeah,
So how
exactly.
are you guys are
How are they
getting
expected to compete?
anything?
I know
Yeah,
it's like new grads having to compete with, senior and principal artists for the same jobs. It's crazy, and there's like no good cut and dry answer because I still try to do like, especially with my alma mater and schools in the area, I still try to do like outreach and stuff like that. Actually, this past weekend I was at a game expo in Massachusetts, and I was doing portfolio reviews and talking to students and trying to give advice, and it's always hard. Like there's no cut and dry answer. It's like the expectation is you go to college or you do this thing as it has been, especially with like education in the United States for like most of your young life. It's like, oh, you do the next thing and you do the next thing, and at the end like you get a thing if you do the thing. But it's like, no, here like there's no promise. Even if you do the
mm,
thing and you do outside personal work and you do mentorships, like you still might not get the thing. um
exactly. Sometimes it's just
it's a
luck.
crapshoot. Like really, really is.
It's really luck.
Yeah, no, it
Sometimes
is. No,
you need
absolutely.
to, maybe you meet the right person at the right time, and you apply at the right position at the right
Yeah.
studio. Sometimes it's just a
Yeah,
combination of different
the
circumstances
dominoes
that
fall into
just
place. Yeah.
exactly.
But it's
And
it's hard to like bottle that, and I have such a hard time like, how do I tell that
yeah.
to students? And again, I don't want to dash anybody's hopes or dreams, and it's hard to like have a conversation sometimes where it's like, hey, your work's good, it's not about your work, dude. It's like i I don't know, like I'm in the same position you are. Somebody 20 years my senior is in the same position both of us are. It's like I don't know what to tell you that makes any of this like easier to swallow. It's just kind of like the state of things. And again, like a lot of luck. I feel like I've been very fortunate in my young career to be very lucky. And again, like you said, meet the right people at the right times. And just sort of the dominoes fell into place and like the stars aligned for me to sort of, I never had like a period like when I got out of school, I was able to get right into a job amidst everything falling apart, and I was able to just keep bouncing and bouncing. This is the longest time I've ever been laid off. The times I've been laid off
Mm.
previously was only for like um one of them was for a day and the other one was for like a week. So I've been very, very lucky and very fortunate. And of course, I know that sometimes that runs out, like the luck runs out. and I've always wanted to like be
Yeah.
prepared for like when that happens. And it's like, oh, okay, but maybe I'm out of work for 6 months. Like, who knows? Um,
Mm.
so yeah,
Yeah, as we said, it's sometimes it's just luck, but you still can do as much as you still need to do as much as you can
yeah,
to keep the luck percentage as high as
yeah,
possible.
and try
Like
not to give up.
if you're not applying for jobs, nobody will come knocking and ask you if you want a job, or nobody's standing at the front door and telling you, "Hey, Ed, you need a job."
Yeah,
So
yeah,
you need to put stuff out there. You need to apply. You need to
yeah,
create stuff for ArtStation, and just keep the ball rolling to
yeah.
keep the luck number as high as possible. Yeah,
Absolutely. Just keep creating. I like to think that discipline eventually replaces motivation because everybody gets
yeah,
motivated to work
absolutely
on something, and then
easy.
it's like, okay, when
Mm.
that motivation goes away, you gonna keep
What are you
working on
doing?
it. Yeah, exactly. What
Mm.
do you gotta? Sometimes you just gotta put your head down. And
Yeah.
I try to, that's try to tell myself that every day. Again, that's why I started making those short form videos, is to keep myself disciplined, is to hold myself accountable, and hopefully, like inspire other people that are sitting and doom scrolling, being like, I just got laid off. Let's just go make something. Go make a
Yeah.
donut in Blender. Go, go pick up that personal project that you've been working on.
True.
And
Yeah.
yeah, just like keep pushing, keep going. So
Nice. So Ed, that was a big um, end note for our talk today. I say thank you so much
yeah, of
for being my
course.
guest today. I will put your Twitter and your X in the show notes, also your ArtStation. And guys, keep following Ed. He's putting out daily content, as we already said. Keep following him. He's a great guy. um yeah, just keep the ball rolling, and I hope you have I wish you all the best for the job hunt, and maybe we will see us in the future, maybe working on a project together,
Yeah,
which
that
would
would be
be really
awesome.
really cool. um but yeah, we just need to keep grinding and keep doing what we're doing.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me on today. I really appreciate it.
Thanks, Ed. It was great. Take care. Bye bye.